What up, truth seekers? It's your favorite source for all things Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, back at you with more of that inside scoop living. Welcome back to the channel. Have an argument with me in the comments, but for real, if you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Come on, guys. Smash that like button, subscribe and turn on the post notifications now. Well, let me start by telling you about Harry's 40th birthday. I mean, does anyone else remember when you turned 40 and it was basically an excuse for a nice dinner with family - medium.com? Well, not for our Harry. No, sir. It is a very depressing thought, as if the gulf dividing him and his royal counterparts was not deep enough to swallow up the English Channel following of particularly bleak weather. The smallest silver lining there could be would still leave one last bit of silver, somewhere, and it'd the reconciliation. But PRRI reveals one sanctuary in which to seek them, the miraculous kingdom of domestic peace and cohesion, my words. The King Charles' only people of the good variety. Guess who our new Messiah is going to be, and whom didn't even have time for a coronation run because he was up trying to get his batting right. But it is a safety matter, and everyone relies on this. Yes, you heard that right. The sole hindrance to the perfect family reunion is in fact that security which Harry, at such a high emotional cost and with flounces aplenty as he famously headed off for California, telling us all it was about absolutely not needing. Oh, the irony. Maybe, Harry has his security clearance, after all, at least from King Charles, if not here in America. When you're a prince who has quit the royal family, moved to another continent and spent years ripping your blood relatives in every available fashion, apparently your most pressing worry is losing access to state-funded personal protection officers. Makes perfect sense, right? But wait, it gets better. Harry has not been able to see his unwell father since February. The 72 hours I spent in London after hearing the news of my father's cancer, obviously. He flew and then called, "Hey Dad, what's up?" A shot of the dusty prairie, punchy twist on some innocuous pun you'd barely bothered to explain, tough luck about the old sea. Ah well, cheerio, and he was back in his private jet before anyone could smell carbon emissions coming out from that farting volcano just east of Sydney. Harry's inevitable court cases roll on, of course, because nothing says, "I'm trying to reconcile with my family," like suing every second tabloid paper in London. Sounds kind of like a demented game of legal whack-a-mole that he's trying to challenge the newspapers, as in those guys actually have enough room on their depth chart. His mallet is his giant, cosmic-sized chip on the shoulder. But wait, here's the best part. Harry has been banging on about how dangerous it would be for him and Meghan to come back to these shores. He seems worried that some roving loner could snap after reading something bad about him in the tabloids and launch an acid or knife attack against them. Sounds like a reasonable reaction of somebody who was sixth in line to the throne, isn't it? Let's take a moment to pull that apart. Harry was a public prince for flesh and blood in the UK. He was a man that served his country, for God's sake, suddenly terrified of walking down the street in Britain. Come on, Harry. We know you've resided in LA for a few years now, but come on, the UK surely isn't that far out of your memory. Then again, this is not exactly the UK as if it were in a post-apocalyptic action movie. And then there's Meghan. Oh, Meghan, Meghan, Meghan. The woman that had invaded the royal world like a whirlwind, saying she was going to disrupt all of this and open windows in the monarchy. And now she won't even visit. Why? Is it the weather wasn't warm enough, tea not hot enough, or because public isn't buying her victim narrative any longer? But what about their Netflix documentary? You know, the one where they spoke up for the incessant British press? Because having more resources than 99.999% of people could ever possibly dream to acquire is a hardship if someone writes something mean about you in the press. Poor dears. But this is what really pisses me off, people. With Harry and Meghan, it appears that they keep saying how much privacy they want, how being in the UK was too difficult for them with everyone watching all of the time, then prove their first point repeatedly by going back into where else. They clearly hate staying out of the spotlight, whether in book form, a podcast or documentary paracase. However, Harry has now struck another Netflix deal to produce more actual programs off his own back, just what the world needs, additional input from a prince who hasn't decided if he's still royal or not. I mean, what else will this innovative bunch put in a series next? The Harry and Meghan Guide to Screwing Up Relationships, How to Lose Friends and Force People into Alienation. You can do anything. But enough of the security thing, right? Harry Shue, estranged from family, is no longer going to bring his baby to visit the UK until he gets police protection official hanger on Harry. Hold on a minute, weren't Harry and Meghan the ones who had made so much noise about relinquishing their royal titles and perquisites? Didn't they insist all they wanted was to be human like everybody else? Well, Harry, let me break it to you, normal people do not get their own security detail paid by the taxpayer. The government does not have to give them special treatment just because they were once somebody. The rest of us plebeians just have to tough it out and suffer through the small shit life throws at us. Okay, so maybe that fear of the lone actor lets me segue here for a moment. Harry, my dear boy, do you think that a red meat Sun reader over their morning cuppa is going to read the rant of a gossip columnist and grab the nearest bottle of acid before heading on to their local estates? Give me a break. The British public have better things to do, like bitch about the weather and queue for stuff. But the icing on top of this royal sundae is that Harry still talks to King Charles almost every day, but hasn't spoken in months with his brother Prince William. Yes, dear reader, you read that correctly. Brothers who once were so close and shared a similar grief regarding their mother are now as distant from each other as if they lived on separate continents. And why? Because of what? Some privileged lights? Fights over protocol? Or is it that William had the temerity to suggest, perhaps disingenuously, that airing so much of the family's dirty linen in public wasn't such a good idea, after all? We might find out eventually, but one thing is for sure, it's a shame when two brothers can't jump on the horn and talk things out like men. But wait, there's more. Some anonymous royal source, likely a grouchy vet who trimmed the Queen's corgi's toe-nails once as an intern or something, also related to Vicky that Harry teaming up for this new film is not meant to slap down anyone, nor even chalk another one on his bridge. Actually, no, it's the endless war between you and those British tabloids because this is vitally interesting to every living person on Earth. No press releases on climate change, global inequity or any myriad of actual problems a prince with this platform could be addressing. Double nope, it's all about keeping unkind words off the pages of your local broadsheet. But there is also Harry's courtroom triumphs in which he was found not guilty. A judge ruled his phone had been unlawfully intercepted by a gossip-hungry red top after winning a high court case brought against the Mirror Group newspapers. At least to some extent, right, a win is a win. And he's still rapping his legal saber against the publishers of the Mail and the Sun, while apparently having nothing better to do with your time if you're a duke in exile than fighting every single newspaper west of the British Channel. So, I get what some of you are thinking. Sure, but critic, should we take pity on Harry? He just wants to defend his family. To that, I say poppycock. Harry had all the protection and privilege of what it should be to have as a royal. He chose to give that up. He decided to emigrate, so instead, he decided to air his grievances on international television. For somebody that wants to be left alone, these aren't things one might do. Acts like this are that of wanting to have your cake and eat it too, and let's talk about how all of this drama is going to affect the other royal members. His son should behave himself. King Charles has enough to do running the country without having to listen his squabbling boy. The rest of the time, he has been grilled about his brother's estrangement. As heir to the throne, it is William who should be preparing for that job. It is not like the monarchy as an institution does need even more challenges without this tired old soap opera playing out in the press, to boot. But the thing that really jets me about this, folks. But in all this theater, the back and forth, demands upon complaints, let's face it, legal battles, has anyone stopped to ask, where is this leading? What do Harry, Meghan really want? Do they want to be royals again? Because let me break the news to them, that ship has sailed and was hit by an iceberg, it sunk to the bottom of ocean. Are the two of them ready to just be ordinary Americans? So how come they can't get off the air for 5 minutes? With reconciliation with the family? Perhaps then the most effective strategy isn't an unending series of public assaults. The prince who cried victim. In this version of the boy who cried wolf. Just as the story goes, eventually, people tune it out, they don't care and doubt that such a terrible predicament has occurred. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the true tragedy. Harry and Meghan could have been great. They might have used their influence for good to bring attention to meaningful causes and do some tangible good in the world. They are poster children of privilege decaying under the weight of victimhood. What comes next in this ongoing drama? So, is Harry going to secure his expensive security and triumphant return in the UK? Face it, at this crucial juncture in US history, Meghan cannot let a fear of British tabloids keep her from coming back to grace us with that ass. Sarah's, and are these two going to come home married because King Charles will do something with his royal scepter and make all the family drama go away? We shall see, but one thing is for certain, as long as Harry and Meghan are dishing it out, you know I will be serving up right back with a side on snark and sprinkle of reality checks. There you have it, friends. Just one day brings a fresh, overwrought chapter in the continuing soap opera that is now the Sussex saga. Will they ever find peace? When are they going to stop whining? The rest of us, will we ever read a newspaper again without looking at their faces? Stay tuned to find out. Tune in until then, more tales of shock and disgraces await you at our YouTube channel here. Make sure to follow them on Facebook, and be updated with the latest from the royal family. Watch this space for more jaw-dropping news about the royal family. Thanks for reading. Bye for now.